Alright, here we are yet again for some more fairy tale discussion slash review. Expect at least a couple more of these for the next couple of weeks because, well, I'm watching it, so what do you expect? Yeah, so for this one, we're going to be covering the Eclipse and the Tartarus arc up until the end of the Tartarus arc. I am a couple episodes into Fairy Tail Zero, but we will not talk about that until another video. So, the Eclipse. Not what I was expecting, but not bad. Overall, I'd say it was okay. Weaker than the Grand Magic games, overall. It's just less hype, less cool stuff. The plot made marginal sense. One of the biggest problems I have with the plot is of the Eclipse section is, so Rogue knows, like future Rogue knows that Lucy will try and close the door. However, future Lucy doesn't know that she'll close the door. However, Rogue is clearly from a future where the 10,000 dragons came through the door and fucked up the world, as he says himself, which means he's from the same timeline as future Lucy. But if future Lucy didn't try and close the door, then how does future Rogue know that she tried to close the door? Or would try to close the door? Because that didn't happen in the original timeline that he's from. Because, you know, the 10,000 dragons came through, which means that the door wasn't closed. So, what? That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but details, I guess. Fairy Tail doesn't care. Rogue, as a whole, I don't really get his motivation at all. He's just evil because he feels like it. He wants to be king of the world, rule of the world, being the king of the dragons or whatever, even though none of his character prior to this has even indicated that he could ever get like that. Yes, 7 years is a long time. And obviously shit happens, but like, the fact he thinks that he would be able to beat Aknologia is ridiculous, but okay. He goes absolutely batshit crazy, and I don't know why he goes to the past to then become ruler of the world and inflict all the horrors and shit that happened to him on everyone in the present, instead of just trying to prevent the horrible future from happening. But whatever. Like Lucy tries to do, you know, she tries to prevent shit going and hitting the fan. But hey, sure. The fights were kind of cool, I guess. The fights against the dragons were a bit shit, if I'm being honest. Just on the whole. Yeah, these weren't that great. We get a little bit about Ignu. We find out he's the king of the fire dragons or whatever, from Atlas Flame, who's just on fire all the time. Okay, cool, I guess. Yeah. Overall, just okay. I have gripes, but yeah, actually maybe I'd consider it being just meh. Less than meh. Maybe like a 4 or a 5. Maybe a 5. 5 is probably fair. Everything else in Fairy Tail's probably been a 6. Except Grand Magic Games probably like a 7. So yeah, 5 for Eclipse, I'd say. Next is the Tartarus arc. Yikes, it does not have a good start. The Frozen Village stuff, or the Sun Village, or whatever you call it, Frozen Village just because it's easy to remember. That was awful. That was actually just like unfun to watch. That was actually bad, in my opinion. Just straight up. Nothing was in. It wasn't particularly interesting. It felt, yes, it was set up, but it just didn't feel like it was handled very well. I didn't really enjoy it. That's just me. Maybe that is just me. I doubt it. Well, I don't know. Let me know in the comments. But I didn't particularly enjoy it overall. Probably like a 4. Probably the worst arc so far that I've watched, I think. Obviously, memory is a bit hazy on some of the earlier stuff, but I'd definitely say, like, this is probably the worst bit of Fairy Tail I've watched. So yeah, as for the rest of the Tartarus arc, it's okay. It's definitely not bad. very much in line with the rest of Fairytale. Is it's just okay, like a 6. Fights were decent-ish. We get some cool moments with Wendy, where, you know, she gets to have a moment to herself. She gets a fight. She has to win a fight. She has to have a good moment. That's nice. The ending of the arc's pretty good. I can't lie. Yes, the dragons just being inside of the Dragon Slayers is a bit weird, especially when you consider one of the scenes we had earlier on in the series where we see Igneal in a physical form, like some volcano area, and he talks to Grandine, who's like a little floating spirit, which is weird because that implies that Igneal's in a physical place, but he's not. So, a bit weird there, if you ask me. Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that, but sure, whatever. Retcons, they're fine, I guess. Again, it's still a bit strange that they're just inside them, but okay, cool. It makes sense given that we know that Dragon Slayers can turn to dragons, and they're doing it so, you know, antibodies, ooh, magic bullshit. So yeah, sure, fair enough. The Igneal Agnologia fight is cool. The ending, obviously, big sad, Igneal dies, Natsu cry. But, you know, damage to Agnologia, lose an arm, kinda cool. Yeah, obviously, Minerva's in this arc as well. She basically does a complete 180 on her character throughout this arc, going from psycho crazy, power is everything bitch to maybe friends are pretty good actually. By the end of it, sure, it's Fairytale. It's what I expect. Yeah, Sting and Rogue back, who are somehow seemingly weaker than they were before. They just don't use Dragon Force, which I found really weird. When they're fighting Mad Gear, we know they can use Dragon Force on will. So why don't they use it when fighting the boss of the demons? Like, why do they not use it? Like, they just don't. Because we see when Natsu triggers Dragon Force that he beats the shit out of Mad Gear. But Sting and Rogue, who could do it on will, just don't do it. I don't get that. But maybe there was an explanation at some point. I don't believe there was, but hey. Also, if I sound weird, or gradually start to sound weird, it's because I got a cold, and I really need to blow my nose. So yeah, there's a couple of things that I found a bit strange from this arc that don't really make a lot of sense in context, but based on, you know, context based on information we already have. I was gonna snivel, fuck it. So, yeah, bit iffy on it. The fights, though, on the whole, are pretty decent, I will say. Not as good as the Grand Magic games, but pretty decent overall. Yeah. The demons also don't make a whole lot of sense, because some of them look like, you know, very demonic. Like, you have Kyoka, who's like 80% demon. You have Tempesta, who's like, basically, he just doesn't look human at all. But then you have like Mad Gear, who looks human completely. Okay, sure. Demons be demons. Zeref do some shit, you know? But yeah, that's that. Also, we found out what the Lumen Histoire is. And that it's Mavis's body in a crystal. Bit strange, if you ask me, but kind of cool at the same time. Interested to see what it actually does, and why it's such a big deal, and why nobody can know about it. Also, Durambalt being a member of Fairytale. Okay, sure. Pull that out your ass if you want, Mashima. Go ahead. Yeah. On the whole, arc's okay. Oh, actually, can't forget, Aquarius' key being destroyed. And Lucy summoning the, Reo, the Celestial King. That was pretty cool. I do like that moment. Quite nice. I wonder what the overall implications of that are going to be. I wonder if we're going to get... I wonder if Aquarius will come back. I kind of hope not. I'd be very happy if she doesn't, because they would actually have some... You know, there'd be stakes. It would have been a permanent, long-lasting effect. There would have actually been stakes to that moment. But if Aquarius comes back, then the stakes go out the fucking window. So, yeah, I hope not. But yeah, I think we'll leave that there. I think I've covered most of my thoughts on those two arcs. Next video will probably be Fairy Tail Zero, and whatever comes after it. And maybe some of the... Well, yeah, probably just be Fairy Tail Zero and maybe a little bit after it for the end of the 2014 anime. But yes, with all that said, I've been Animosity, you've been you, and I hope to catch you all next time for another video. Ta-ta. For now.